The courtroom smelled like leather and expensive cologne. Grayson Hale leaned back in his chair, grinning like a man who'd already won. His suit probably cost more than most people's cars. 3 lawyers sat beside him, briefcases open, papers stacked high enough to block the light. That on the other side of the room sat Eli Mercer, that alone that NO lawyer. No briefcase. Just a single folder and hands that wouldn't stop shaking, Grayson noticed. "Of course he did, Your Honor," he said, his voice dripping with fake concern. "I see Mr. Mercer has decided to represent himself." "How brave," the gallery laughed. Not everyone, but enough. Eli's jaw tightened. He stared straight ahead at Judge Calloway, refusing to give Grayson the satisfaction of eye contact. "Hi. Welcome to Pop Stories channel. Thanks for watching. Kindly tell me what country you're watching from." Grayson wasn't done. "I mean, really, Your Honor. This is family court, not small claims. We're discussing custody of my son, division of assets worth millions, and this man," he gestured at Eli like he was pointing at trash, "shows up with a folder from Staples." More laughter. Dorian Vex, Grayson's lead attorney, leaned forward. "Your Honor, perhaps we should offer Mr. Mercer time to secure proper representation. We'd hate for this to be unfair." The word unfair came out like poison wrapped in silk. Judge Calloway, a woman in her 60s with steel gray hair and zero patience for games, adjusted her glasses. "Mr. Mercer has the right to represent himself. We'll proceed." But even she sounded doubtful. Eli could feel every eye in the room on him, judging, pitying. Some people looked away, embarrassed for him. Others stared, waiting for the crash. Grayson stretched his arms behind his head, relaxed as a man on vacation. "This'll be over by lunch." His lawyers nodded. The court reporter typed without looking up. Eli opened his folder. Inside were 3 pieces of paper. "That's it." 3. Grayson saw, and burst out laughing. 3 pages? I've got 300. What's your plan, Mercer? Beg? Cry? Maybe the judge will feel sorry for you. Eli finally looked at him. Their eyes locked. Something passed between them. Something cold. Grayson's smile faltered. Just for a second. Then it came roaring back, bigger and meaner. "You know what I love about this?" Grayson leaned forward, elbows on the table. "You actually thought you had a chance. You thought showing up would be enough. Like the universe cares about effort." He laughed again, louder this time. "I'm going to take everything, Eli. My son, the house, your dignity, and you're going to sit there with your little Staples folder and watch it happen." And the courtroom went silent. Even Judge Calloway looked uncomfortable. Eli's hand gripped the edge of the table. His knuckles went white. But he didn't speak. He didn't move. He just waited. Grayson leaned back again, satisfied. "Your Honor, let's get this over with. I've got a board meeting at 2. Judge Calloway opened her mouth to respond. Then the courtroom doors slammed open. The sound echoed like a gunshot. Everyone turned. A woman stood in the doorway. Tall, sharp suit, heels that clicked like bullets on the marble floor. She walked straight down the center aisle, her eyes locked on Grayson. The room held its breath. Grayson's smile died on his face. Dorian Vex went pale. Even Judge Calloway sat up straighter. The woman stopped at Eli's table. She set down a leather briefcase. Expensive. The kind lawyers carry when they never lose. She looked at Grayson. "You should have brought more lawyers." Who is this woman? What does she know that Grayson doesn't? Drop your predictions in the comments, because what happens next will blow your mind. The woman didn't sit down. She stood there, staring at Grayson like he was a bug. She was deciding whether to squash. Grayson recovered first. He always did. "And you are someone who knows what you did last summer." She smiled. "Cold, sharp, and the summer before that. And every dirty little secret you thought you buried." The courtroom buzzed. Grayson's lawyer, Dorian Vex, stood up fast. "Your Honor, who is this person? She can't just walk in here and sit down, Dorian." The woman's voice cut through the room like glass. You'll want to be seated for this. Judge Calloway banged her gavel. Excuse me. I'll decide who speaks in my courtroom. Identify yourself. Now, the woman turned to the judge. Respectful. Calm. Aurelia Mercer, Your Honor. I'm Mr. Mercer's sister. And his attorney, Eli's sister. The gallery erupted. Grayson's face went red. Sister? You never mentioned a sister. Eli finally spoke. His voice was quiet but steady. You never asked. Aurelia opened her briefcase. Pulled out a stack of documents. Not 3 pages. Hundreds. Organized. Tagged. Lethal. Your Honor, I apologize for my late arrival. Traffic from Geneva is unpredictable. Geneva. Dorian Veck's eyes widened. He knew that name. Every corporate lawyer did. Aurelia Mercer wasn't just any attorney. She was the attorney. The one who took down Fortune 500 CEOs for breakfast. The one governments called when they needed someone destroyed legally and completely. Grayson tried to laugh it off. Oh, so you called in reinforcements. Cute. Doesn't change the facts. Your brother is broke. Unstable. Unfit to raise my son. Aurelia looked at him like he'd just told a joke only idiots would find funny. Broke. She pulled out a document. Let's talk about broke, Grayson. Let's talk about the offshore accounts you hid from the IRS. The shell companies in the Caymans. The money you funneled through your father's charity. Grayson's smile cracked. Dorian jumped up. Your Honor, these are baseless accusations. Baseless? Aurelia slid a folder across the table. Bank statements. Transactions. Emails with your accountant discussing tax fraud. All time-stamped. All verified. The judge leaned forward, interested now. Grayson's hands clenched into fists. You're bluffing? Am I? Aurelia's smile grew. Let's test that theory. She turned to the judge. Your Honor, I'd like to submit evidence that Mr. Hale has been systematically hiding assets to avoid both taxes and fair division in this divorce. I have testimony from 3 of his employees, recordings of conversations, and financial records spanning 7 years. The courtroom went dead silent. Grayson looked at Dorian. Dorian looked at his papers. Neither of them looked confident anymore. Judge Calloway picked up the folder. Flipped through it. Her eyebrows rose higher with each page. Mr. Vex, she said slowly. Did you know about any of this? Dorian stammered. Your Honor, I would need time to review. That's what I thought. Judge Calloway set the folder down. Continue, Ms. Mercer. Aurelia didn't need to be told twice. Grayson Hale claims my brother is unfit. Let me tell you what unfit looks like. She pulled out another document. This is a police report from 3 months ago. Mr. Hale was arrested for public intoxication. Charges were dropped because Daddy made a phone call. Grayson stood up. That's a lie. Sit down, Mr. Hale. Judge Calloway said sharply. Saturday, Aurelia kept going. Here's another report. CPS was called to Mr. Hale's penthouse after neighbors reported a child crying for hours. No one answered the door. Grayson was at a club. The gallery gasped. Eli's face stayed neutral, but his eyes burned. Grayson's lawyers were whispering frantically now. Your Honor. Dorian tried again. These allegations are documented. Aurelia interrupted. Verified. And about to get much, much worse. She looked at Grayson. You wanted a fight. You mocked my brother for showing up alone. You thought money made you untouchable. She leaned forward. You were wrong. What did Aurelia find that made Grayson's billion-dollar legal team go silent? Comment below if you think he's finished, or if he has one more trick up his sleeve. Grayson's face turned purple, but he slammed his hand on the table. Your Honor, this is character assassination. None of this is relevant to custody. Judge Calloway raised an eyebrow. A father's fitness isn't relevant to custody? Interesting legal strategy, Mr. Hale. The gallery snickered. Grayson spun toward Aurelia. You think you're smart? You think a few documents scare me? I have more money than you'll see in 10 lifetimes. I can drag this out for years. Bleed your brother dry. Aurelia didn't even blink. Go ahead. Try. Dorian Vex grabbed Grayson's arm, trying to pull him back down. Grayson stopped talking. But Grayson was unraveling. You want to play dirty? Fine. He pointed at Eli. Your brother is a failure. He lost his job 6 months ago. Lives in a one-bedroom apartment in a bad neighborhood. Can barely afford groceries. What kind of life is that for my son? Eli's jaw tightened. His hands balled into fists under the table. Aurelia stayed calm. Deadly calm. Let's talk about your son, Grayson. When's his birthday? Grayson blinked. What? His birthday. Simple question. Grayson's mouth opened. Closed. It's in March. May, Eli said quietly. May 14th. The courtroom went silent. Aurelia pulled out another paper. What's his teacher's name? Grayson looked at Dorian. Dorian looked at his notes. Neither answered. Mrs. Patterson, Eli said. She's been his teacher for 2 years. She sends me updates every week. Aurelia kept going. What's your son's favorite food? I don't see how. Answer the question. Grayson's face went red again. Pizza. Kids love pizza. Mac and cheese, Eli said. Homemade. Not the box kind. He likes when I add breadcrumbs on top. Someone in the gallery whispered. Oh my God. Aurelia leaned forward. One more question, Grayson. When's the last time you saw your son? Silence. When? Aurelia pressed. I've been busy. 3 months, Eli said, his voice breaking. You haven't seen him in 3 months. You missed his school play, his soccer games, his parent-teacher conference. You don't call. You don't text. You don't show up. Grayson's lawyers were frantically whispering now. Judge Calloway wrote something down. Her face was stone. Aurelia pulled out a phone. Your Honor, I have text messages. 27 from my brother to Mr. Hale over the past 3 months. Asking when he'll visit. Sending photos of their son. Updates about school. She swiped through the screen. Grayson responded to 3. One said busy. One said later. One was a thumbs-up emoji. The courtroom erupted in whispers. Grayson stood up again. That's because he's always nagging me. Trying to guilt me. I have a business to run. You have a son to raise. Aurelia's voice cut through the room like a whip. Even Judge Calloway looked shocked. Aurelia took a breath. Composed herself. Your Honor, Mr. Hale doesn't want custody because he loves his son. He wants custody because he hates losing. This is about control. About punishing my brother for daring to ask for a divorce. Grayson's face twisted. You don't know what you're talking about. Don't I? Aurelia pulled out another document. Here's an email you sent to your publicist 2 weeks ago. Quote, if Eli thinks he can embarrass me publicly, I'll take everything from him. Including the kid. Gasps filled the room. Dorian Vex went pale. Where did you get that? Aurelia smiled. Discovery is a beautiful thing. Grayson looked like he'd been slapped. That was taken out of context. Was it? Aurelia, read further. The kid is just leverage. Once I win custody, I'll hire a nanny and forget this whole mess. The courtroom exploded. Judge Calloway banged her gavel. Hard. Order. Everyone shut up or I'll clear this room. Silence fell instantly. She looked at Grayson. Really looked at him. Mr. Hale, did you write that email? Grayson's mouth opened. No words came out. Dorian jumped in. Your Honor, emails can be misinterpreted. I asked Mr. Hale. Judge Calloway's voice could freeze lava. Did you write it? Grayson looked at his lawyers. At the gallery. At Eli. Finally he looked at the judge. Yes, the word hung in the air like poison. That Eli's eyes filled with tears. Not sad tears. Angry ones. Aurelia closed her briefcase. Your Honor, I think we're done here. But Grayson wasn't finished. You think you've won? His voice was low. Dangerous. You have no idea who you're dealing with. I have friends in places you can't imagine. Judges. Politicians. People who owe me favors." He leaned forward. "This isn't over." Not even close. The courtroom went cold. Judge Calloway stared at him. "Mr. Hale, are you threatening this court?" Grayson smiled. "I'm stating facts." Then his phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. His face went white. What message did Grayson just receive that made a billionaire lose all his color? Drop your wildest guesses below, because what's coming next is insane. Grayson stared at his phone like it was a snake. His hand shook. Dorian noticed. "What is it?" Grayson didn't answer. He just kept staring. Aurelia watched him with the patience of a hunter who already knows the prey is caught. "Something wrong, Grayson?" Her voice was sweet. Too sweet. He looked up at her. Really looked at her for the first time. You're Aurelia Mercer." "We established that." No, his voice cracked. "You're the Aurelia Mercer. The one who took down Hendricks Corporation." The courtroom went silent. Someone in the back whispered, "Oh my God." Aurelia smiled. "Took you long enough." Dorian Vex stood up so fast his chair fell over. "Your Honor, I need a recess." Immediately. Judge Calloway looked at him like he'd lost his mind. "We just started. Your Honor, please." "Sit down, Mr. Vex." Dorian didn't sit. He grabbed Grayson's arm. "We need to talk. Now." But Grayson couldn't move. He was frozen, staring at Aurelia like she was death itself. Hendricks Corporation. Someone in the gallery said. That was the pharmaceutical company, right? The one that went bankrupt overnight. Not just bankrupt, another person whispered. Destroyed. The CEO went to prison. The board was investigated. Shareholders lost everything. Aurelia didn't deny it. She just stood there, calm as glass. Judge Calloway leaned forward. "Ms. Mercer, is this true?" "Which part, Your Honor?" "That I represented whistleblowers who exposed Hendricks for selling contaminated drugs? Or that I made sure every executive involved faced criminal charges?" She paused. "Yes. Both are true." The courtroom buzzed like a hive. Grayson finally found his voice. "You bankrupted a Fortune 500 company. I held criminals accountable," Aurelia corrected. "There's a difference." Dorian was sweating now. Actual sweat. Running down his temples. "Your Honor, I formally request a continuance. My client needs time to what?" Aurelia interrupted. "Hire better lawyers? Hide more money? Call in favors from corrupt judges." She looked at Grayson. Too late. Grayson's phone buzzed again. He looked at it. His face went from white to gray. "No," he whispered. No. "Problem?" Aurelia asked innocently. Grayson stood up, pointing at her with a shaking finger. "You froze my accounts. You froze all my accounts." The courtroom exploded. Judge Calloway banged her gavel. "What?" Aurelia pulled out a document. Calm. Professional. "Your Honor, this morning at 9 a.m., I filed an emergency motion to freeze Mr. Hale's assets pending investigation of tax fraud, money laundering, and violation of court orders." The motion was granted by Judge Matthews at 9:47 a.m. Grayson lunged toward her. Two bailiffs grabbed him before he got 3 steps. "You can't do this," he screamed. "Do you know who I am?" Aurelia looked at him like he was a child throwing a tantrum. "You're a man who broke the law, repeatedly, and now you're facing consequences." Dorian was frantically typing on his phone. "Your Honor, this is outrageous. You can't just freeze a man's assets without evidence." Aurelia pulled out another folder. "I have evidence. Bank records showing wire transfers to offshore accounts. Emails discussing tax evasion. Testimony from his accountant who's agreed to cooperate in exchange for immunity." She handed the folder to Judge Calloway. The judge read through it. Her face got harder with each page. Grayson slumped back in his chair. The fight drained out of him. This can't be happening. he muttered. This can't be real. Eli finally spoke. His voice was quiet, but everyone heard it. How does it feel, Grayson? To have everything taken from you? To be powerless? Grayson looked at him. Really looked at him. You set me up, he said. This whole thing was a trap. Eli shook his head. No. I just asked for a divorce. You're the one who threatened to destroy me. You're the one who said you'd take our son as revenge. He leaned forward. You did this to yourself. Aurelia set another document on the table. Your Honor, I also have a witness who'd like to testify. She's waiting outside. Who? Judge Calloway asked. Mr. Hale's assistant. Former assistant, as of this morning. She has recordings of conversations where Mr. Hale discussed bribing court officials. Grayson's face went purple. Jessica wouldn't. She already did, Aurelia said. She's been cooperating with federal investigators for 3 weeks. The courtroom was dead silent. Dorian Vex closed his briefcase. Your Honor, I need to withdraw as counsel. Judge Calloway raised an eyebrow. Now, conflict of interest. I can't represent a client facing criminal charges that I wasn't informed about. He looked at Grayson. You're on your own. And just like that, Grayson's 300-page legal defense walked out the door. Grayson sat alone at his table, just like Eli had been at the start. Judge Calloway looked at both men. Gentlemen, we're taking a 30-minute recess. Mr. Hale, I suggest you use that time to find new representation. Or a good lawyer who specializes in criminal defense. She banged her gavel at AS people filed out. Grayson sat frozen. Aurelia leaned over to Eli. You okay? Eli nodded. I didn't think it would feel like this. Like what? Sad. Even after everything he did. I feel sad for him. Aurelia looked at Grayson. Then back at her brother. That's why you're a better man than he'll ever be. Grayson looked up at them. His eyes were hollow. This isn't over, he said. My father, your father? Aurelia's smile disappeared. Oh, Grayson, you really should have stopped talking. Who was Grayson's father, and why did Aurelia's face just change? Comment if you think things are about to get even worse. Because they are. The courtroom doors opened. Judge Calloway returned to her bench. Court is back in session. Grayson sat alone. No lawyers. No support. Just him and his phone, which kept buzzing with bad news. Aurelia stood. Your Honor, I'd like to call our first witness. Proceed. The doors opened again. A woman in her 50s walked in. Gray hair pulled back. Tired eyes. She looked at Grayson with disgust. State your name for the record. The court clerk said. Jessica Ramirez. I was Mr. Hale's executive assistant for 12 years. Grayson's face went white. Jessica, don't do this. Judge Calloway cut him off. Mr. Hale, you will remain silent unless I ask you to speak. Jessica sat in the witness stand. Aurelia approached. Ms. Ramirez, can you tell the court why you're here? Jessica took a breath. I'm here because I'm tired of covering up crimes. The courtroom leaned forward. What crimes? Aurelia asked. Tax evasion. Bribery. Intimidation of witnesses. For 12 years, I watched Mr. Hale break the law and destroy people who got in his way. I kept quiet because he paid me well. Because I was scared. She looked at Grayson. But I'm not scared anymore. Grayson stood up. Your Honor, she's lying. She signed an NDA. An NDA doesn't protect illegal activity, Judge Calloway said coldly. Sit down. Saturday, Aurelia pulled out a document. Your Honor, this is a prenuptial agreement signed by Mr. Hale and my brother 5 years ago. Judge Calloway took it, scanned it, and it's void. Grayson shot up again. That's impossible. Aurelia looked at Jessica. Ms. Ramirez, were you present when this prenup was signed? Yes. Can you tell the court what happened? Jessica nodded. Mr. Hale gave Eli the prenup at 11 p.m. the night before their wedding. Told him if he didn't sign it, the wedding was off. Eli's family had already flown in. The venue was paid for. Everything was ready. Aurelia turned to the judge. "That's coercion, Your Honor. The prenup is invalid." Judge Calloway looked at Grayson. "Did you give your spouse this prenup the night before your wedding?" Grayson's jaw tightened. "It's standard practice. Answer the question. Yes or no?" "Yes." The judge made a note. "The prenup is void. Continue, Ms. Mercer." Grayson's face turned red. "You can't do that." "I just did," Judge Calloway said. "One more outburst and you'll be held in contempt." Aurelia pulled out another folder. "Your Honor, we've also discovered several hidden assets. Bank accounts in the Cayman Islands. Properties registered under shell companies. A yacht registered in Malta under a fake name." She handed the documents to the judge. Grayson's phone buzzed again. He looked at it. His hand shook. "Ms. Ramirez," Aurelia continued, "did you help Mr. Hale hide these assets?" "Yes. He told me it was for tax purposes. I didn't ask questions. And do you have records of these transactions?" Jessica pulled out a flash drive. 12 years' worth. The courtroom erupted. Judge Calloway banged her gavel. "Order." Grayson tried one last time. "Your Honor, my accountant handled all of this." "I had no idea. Your accountant." Aurelia smiled. "Let's talk about him." She pressed a button. A screen lowered from the ceiling. A video started playing. That IT was Grayson. In his office, talking to a man in a suit. "I need these accounts offshore by Friday," video Grayson said. "The IRS is sniffing around." The man nodded. "I'll handle it. And make sure Eli can't find any of it. When we divorce, I'm not giving him a dime." The courtroom went silent. Real Grayson stared at the screen. "Where did you get that?" "Security cameras," Aurelia said. "Your office has them in every room. You installed them yourself. Remember?" Grayson's face went gray. "You recorded yourself committing multiple felonies," Aurelia continued. "For years. And you kept all the footage on a server that your IT guy had access to." She gestured to the back of the room. That a young man in glasses waved nervously. "Your IT guy," Aurelia said, "who's also cooperating with federal investigators." Grayson collapsed into his chair. Judge Calloway looked at him with something close to pity. "Mr. Hale, do you have anything to say?" Grayson didn't respond. He just stared at the table. Aurelia wasn't done. "Your Honor, I have 3 more witnesses. A financial analyst who's traced Mr. Hale's money laundering. A family therapist who'll testify that Mr. Hale has never attended a single session with his son. And," she paused for effect, "a former business partner who Mr. Hale threatened when he tried to go public about accounting fraud." She set 3 folders on the judge's bench. Each witness has documentation. Each one is willing to testify under oath. Each one destroys Mr. Hale's credibility completely. Judge Calloway flipped through the folders. Her face got harder with each page. "Ms. Mercer, I've seen enough. I'm granting temporary full custody to your brother pending a full hearing. Mr. Hale will have supervised visitation only." Grayson's head snapped up. "No, furthermore," the judge continued, "I'm referring this case to the district attorney for criminal investigation. Mr. Hale, you should retain criminal counsel immediately." Grayson looked at Eli. His eyes filled with desperation. "Eli, please. We can work this out. You don't have to do this." Eli stood up. He looked at the man he'd once loved. The man who'd promised to cherish him. The man who'd turned into a monster. "I gave you a chance, Grayson. I asked for counseling. I begged you to spend time with our son. I tried to save this marriage for 3 years." His voice broke. "You laughed at me. You called me weak. You said I'd never survive without you." He picked up his folder. "Guess what? I survived. And so will our son." Grayson's phone buzzed one more time. He looked at it. His face went from gray to ash. "No," he whispered. Dad, no. Aurelia's expression changed. The victory vanished. Something darker took its place. Your father knows, she said quietly. Grayson looked at her. What did you do? I sent him everything. Every document. Every recording. Every piece of evidence. She leaned forward. He knows what you've become. The courtroom doors slammed open. Everyone turned and a man stood in the doorway. Older. Distinguished. Expensive suit. Cold eyes. Vincent Hale, Grayson's father. And he looked ready to burn everything down. The father just arrived, and he does not look happy. Comment below if you think he's here to save Grayson or destroy him, because what happens next is absolutely brutal. Vincent Hale walked down the aisle like a king entering his throne room. Every eye followed him. Grayson stood up. Dad, I can explain. Vincent held up one hand. Grayson stopped talking. Vincent reached the front, looked at his son, then looked at Judge Calloway. Your Honor, I apologize for the interruption. My name is Vincent Hale. The judge's eyes widened slightly. Everyone knew that name. Vincent Hale didn't just have money. He had power. Real power, Mr. Hale. Judge Calloway said carefully. This is highly irregular. I understand, Your Honor. I'm not here to interfere with your proceedings. I'm here to make a statement. He turned to face Grayson. My son is a disgrace. The courtroom gasped. Grayson's face crumbled. Dad, be quiet. Vincent's voice could cut steel. For once in your life, be quiet and listen. Grayson's mouth closed. Vincent looked at the judge. Your Honor, I've spent the last hour reviewing documents sent to me by Ms. Mercer. Tax fraud, money laundering, bribery. My son has committed crimes using resources and connections I provided. He paused. I take full responsibility for creating the monster standing before you. The silence was absolute. I raised him to believe money solved everything. That power meant you were above consequences. I was wrong. Vincent's voice cracked. Just barely. And now he's destroyed his family, his reputation, and his freedom because of lessons I taught him. Grayson's eyes filled with tears. Dad, please. Vincent looked at him. Really looked at him. I'm cutting you off. Completely. No more money. No more lawyers. No more fixing your mistakes. Grayson staggered backward. Your trust fund is frozen. Your position in my company is terminated. Your access to family resources is revoked. Vincent's face was stone. You're on your own. Grayson dropped into his chair like his strings had been cut. Vincent turned to Eli. Mr. Mercer, I don't expect forgiveness. But I want you to know, my grandson will be provided for. I've established a trust in his name. Education. Healthcare. Whatever he needs. The money goes directly to you as his father. That Eli's eyes widened. I don't want your money. It's not for you. It's for him. And it's not a gift. It's an apology for what my son has done to your family. Vincent pulled out a card. Set it on Eli's table. My lawyer will contact you. No strings attached. The trust is irrevocable. But he looked at Judge Calloway one last time. Your Honor, I won't waste any more of your time. I have business to attend to. Specifically, cooperating with federal investigators regarding my son's crimes. That he walked toward the exit. Grayson found his voice. You're going to help them put me in prison. Vincent stopped. Didn't turn around. I'm going to make sure justice is served. Something I should have done years ago. He left. The doors closed behind him. Grayson sat alone. Completely alone. No father. No lawyers. No money. No power. Nothing. Judge Calloway cleared her throat. Mr. Hale, do you wish to continue these proceedings? Grayson didn't answer. He just stared at the table. Mr. Hale, I withdraw my custody petition, he whispered. The courtroom erupted in whispers. You what? Judge Calloway asked. I withdraw my petition. Eli can have full custody. He can have everything. Grayson's voice was hollow. "I'm done." Judge Calloway looked at Eli. "Mr. Mercer, do you accept?" Eli looked at Aurelia. She nodded. "Yes, Your Honor." "Then this case is closed. Full custody to Eli Mercer. Supervised visitation for Grayson Hale pending criminal proceedings." She banged her gavel. Court dismissed. People started filing out. Eli stood there, frozen. He'd won. Complete victory. Aurelia hugged him. "It's over." Eli hugged her back. Tears ran down his face. "I can't believe it. Believe it. You're free." Jessica walked over. "Mr. Mercer, I'm sorry for everything. For staying silent so long." Eli shook his head. "You came forward. That's what matters." She smiled. Nodded. Left. The courtroom emptied. Grayson sat alone at his table, head in his hands. Eli looked at him. Part of him wanted to gloat, to rub it in, to make Grayson feel every bit of pain he caused. But mostly Eli just felt tired. "Come on," Aurelia said. "Let's go get your son." They walked toward the exit. Behind them, Grayson didn't move. Outside the courthouse, the sun was shining. Eli took a deep breath. Free air. For the first time in months. "I need to call Danny," he said. "Tell him the good news." Aurelia smiled. "He's going to be so happy." Eli pulled out his phone. Started dialing. That a black car pulled up to the curb. The window rolled down. Vincent Hale sat in the back seat. "Mr. Mercer," he called. "A moment, please." Aurelia's hand went to Eli's arm. "Don't." But Eli walked over anyway. Vincent looked at him. "You fought well. My son underestimated you. Your son is broken," Eli said. "You did that in there. Was it worth it?" "Absolutely." Vincent's face showed no emotion. "I don't tolerate failure, especially from family." Eli felt ice in his stomach. "What do you want?" "Nothing. Yet." Vincent smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "But I wanted you to understand something. You won today. You humiliated my son. Made a fool of a Hale named." He leaned forward. "I may have cut Grayson off, but I'm still his father. And nobody embarrasses my family without consequences." Eli's blood went cold. "Are you threatening me?" "I'm informing you." Vincent's smile widened. "Enjoy your victory, Mr. Mercer. It won't last." The window rolled up. The car drove away. Eli stood on the sidewalk, shaking. Aurelia ran over. "What did he say?" "He's coming after us," Eli whispered. "This isn't over." Aurelia's face went hard. "Let him try." But in her eyes, Eli saw something he hadn't seen before. Fear. Vincent just made a threat that even Aurelia looks worried about. Comment if you think he's bluffing, or if Eli's about to face something much worse than Grayson ever was. 3 days later, Eli's phone rang. At 2 a.m. he grabbed it, heart pounding. Calls at this hour were never good news. "Hello?" "Mr. Mercer." A woman's voice. Professional. Cold. "This is Margaret Shin from Child Protective Services." Eli shot up, in bed. "What? Why are you calling?" "We received a complaint about your living conditions. I'm outside your apartment. Please let me in." Eli's blood ran cold. "Right now?" "Yes." Now that he stumbled to the door, opened it. A woman in a suit stood there with a clipboard. Behind her, a police officer. "This is harassment," Eli said. "I just won custody 3 days ago. I'm aware. May I come in?" Eli had no choice. He stepped aside. Margaret walked through the apartment, checked the fridge, the bathroom, Danny's bedroom where he slept peacefully. "Who filed the complaint?" Eli demanded. "Anonymous." She wrote something on her clipboard. The caller claimed the child was being neglected. Inadequate food. Unsafe conditions. That a lie. "I can see that." Margaret closed her clipboard. "Your apartment is clean. Your son appears healthy and well cared for. I'll file my report." She headed for the door. Stopped. Turned back. "Mr. Mercer, this won't be the last complaint." Whoever filed this has resources. They'll keep trying. Vincent Hale, Eli whispered. Margaret's face stayed neutral. But something flickered in her eyes. Recognition. I didn't say that. She left. Eli called Aurelia immediately. Immediately. He's coming after me, through CPS. Through the system. Aurelia's voice was tight. I'll handle it. How? He's too powerful. Eli. I said I'll handle it, but she didn't sound confident. The next morning, Eli got another call. His landlord. I'm sorry, Eli. You need to be out by the end of the month. What? Why? Someone bought the building. New owner wants to renovate. Everyone's being evicted. Eli's hands shook. Who bought it? Silence. Who, Mark? A company called Hale Properties. I'm sorry. The line went dead. Eli sat on his couch, head in his hands. Vincent wasn't just threatening. He was systematically destroying Eli's life. That afternoon, Eli went to pick up Danny from school. The principal stopped him at the door. Mr. Mercer, we need to talk. Eli's stomach dropped. About what? Your son's tuition. There's been an issue with the scholarship fund. What issue? The donor withdrew their support. We can't afford to keep Danny enrolled without payment. Eli felt the walls closing in. How much? $15,000 for the year. Money Eli didn't have. Could never have. I'll figure something out, he said. The principal looked sympathetic, but firm. You have until Friday. Eli picked up Danny, held his hand tight as they walked home. Dad, why are you squeezing so hard? Sorry, buddy. Eli loosened his grip. Just happy to see you. Danny smiled. I got an A on my science test. That's great. Eli forced enthusiasm into his voice. His world was falling apart, but Danny didn't need to know that. When they got home, there was an envelope on the door. Eli's heart sank. He opened it. A legal notice. Vincent Hale was suing him for alienation of affection and defamation of character. The lawsuit demanded $10 million in damages. $10 million. Eli slid down the wall, envelope in hand. Dad. Danny's voice was small. Are you okay? Yeah. Eli wiped his eyes. I'm fine. Go do your homework. Danny hesitated, then went to his room. Eli called Aurelia again. He's suing me. CPS came to my door. My landlord kicked me out. Danny's school wants $15,000 I don't have. He's destroying everything. Eli breathed. How do I fight this? He has unlimited money, unlimited power. I'm one man with nothing. Aurelia was quiet for a long moment. Meet me at my hotel. 1 hour. Don't bring Danny. Why? Just trust me. Eli got his neighbor to watch Danny. Took the subway to Aurelia's hotel. She was in the lobby, pacing. What's going on? Eli asked. Vincent Hale isn't just rich. He's connected. Judges, politicians, media. He can make you disappear, Eli. Legally, socially, completely. So what do I do? Aurelia looked at him. You let me fight dirty. What does that mean? It means I dig into Vincent the way I dug into Grayson. But deeper, darker. Things that might cross legal lines. Eli's blood went cold. I don't want you going to jail for me. I won't. But I need your permission to do what needs to be done. Aurelia, he's going to take Danny, Eli. Maybe not through court, but through exhaustion, through bankrupting you, through making your life so impossible that you have to give up. She grabbed his shoulders. Is that what you want? No, then let me fight. Eli closed his eyes, thought about Danny, about his son's future. Do it, Aurelia nodded. Good. Go home. Keep your head down. And wait for what? For me to burn Vincent Hale's world to the ground. Eli went home, but when he got there, Danny was crying. Buddy, what's wrong? Danny held up his tablet. There's an article about you. It says bad things. Eli took the tablet. His face stared back from the screen. The headline read, Deadbeat Dad Wins Custody Through Lies and Manipulation. The article was brutal. painting Eli as a con artist who'd trapped Grayson into marriage for money, who'd turned Grayson's own father against him, who was unfit to raise a child. At the bottom, a quote from a source close to the family. Vincent Hale. Eli's phone buzzed at a text from an unknown number. This is just the beginning. Drop the custody case, or I'll make sure you never see your son again. VH. Eli stared the message. His hand stopped shaking. Something inside him hardened. He texted back, "Try." 3 seconds later, his phone rang. Vincent's voice. Smooth. Amused. "You're braver than I thought. I'm a father protecting his son. That makes me dangerous." Vincent laughed. "You have no idea what dangerous looks like. But you're about to learn." The line went dead. Eli looked at Danny, who'd stopped crying and was watching him. "Dad, are we going to be okay?" Eli knelt down, held his son's face. "Yes, I promise." But outside the window, a black car was parked across the street, watching, waiting. Vincent is watching Eli's apartment, and the war just got personal. Comment if you think Eli stands a chance or if he's about to lose everything, including Danny. The black car was still there in the morning. Eli watched it from his window as Danny ate cereal. His phone buzzed. "Aurelia. Press conference at noon. City Hall. Be there." Eli stared the message. Press conference. Another text. "Trust me at AT 11:45. Eli stood outside City Hall. Reporters everywhere. Cameras. Microphones. Aurelia appeared, flanked by 3 people Eli didn't recognize. She walked straight to the podium. "Good morning. My name is Aurelia Mercer. I'm here to discuss Vincent Hale." The reporters leaned forward. For 30 years, Vincent Hale has used his wealth to manipulate the legal system, silence victims, and destroy anyone who challenged him. Today, that ends. She nodded to the woman beside her. "This is Rebecca Torres, former employee of Hale Industries. For 10 years, she watched Vincent Hale commit securities fraud, insider trading, and tax evasion." Rebecca stepped forward. "I kept quiet because he threatened my family, but I'm done being scared." She held up a flash drive. "This contains evidence of every illegal transaction, every bribed official, every falsified document. All of it." The reporters erupted with questions. Aurelia silenced them. "I've already submitted this evidence to the FBI, the SEC, and the IRS. Federal agents are executing search warrants on Hale Industries as we speak at AT that exact moment, somewhere across the city. Vincent Hale watched his office being raided on live television." Aurelia continued. "Vincent Hale filed a frivolous lawsuit against my brother to intimidate him. He used CPS as a weapon. He bought my brother's building to force an eviction. He planted false stories in the media." She pulled out documents. "Here's proof. Emails between Vincent and his publicist coordinating the smear campaign. Bank transfers showing he paid the anonymous CPS caller $5,000. Purchase records showing he bought my brother's building specifically to evict him." The crowd was silent. Vincent Hale thought he was untouchable. "He was wrong," a reporter shouted. "What about the lawsuit?" "Dismissed this morning. Judge reviewed the evidence and sanctioned Mr. Hale for filing in bad faith. He now owes my brother $200,000 for legal fees and emotional distress." Another reporter. "The eviction? Illegal. Vincent Hale violated tenant protection laws. The building sale is being reversed. My brother keeps his apartment and receives 6 months free rent as compensation. The school tuition." Aurelia smiled. 3 anonymous donors stepped forward this morning. Danny's tuition is paid through graduation, plus a college fund. Eli felt tears on his face. Aurelia looked directly at a camera. "Vincent, if you're watching, and I know you are, it's over. Your accounts are frozen. Your company is under federal investigation. Your reputation is destroyed. You're done. She stepped back from the podium. Reporters swarmed, shouting questions. Aurelia walked straight to Eli. How'd I do? Eli couldn't speak. He just hugged her. His phone buzzed. Vincent. Eli almost didn't answer. But he did. You think you won? Vincent's voice was ice. You have no idea what I'm capable of. Actually, I do. Aurelia's voice came through the phone. She'd leaned in to listen. Because while you were threatening my brother, I was talking to your wife. Silence. Ex-wife, technically. The one you forced to sign a divorce agreement under duress 20 years ago. The one you've been hiding assets from ever, since that Vincent's breathing got heavy. She's filing to have the divorce revisited. She's entitled to half of everything you've hidden. And she's very, very motivated. You can't, I already did. She's meeting with lawyers right now. And guess who's representing her? Silence, that's right. Me. The line went dead. Eli stared at his sister. His ex-wife. Found her in Switzerland. Lovely woman. Very angry. Very willing to help. How did you? I told you. I fight dirty when I need to. That evening, the news showed Vincent Hale being let out of his office in handcuffs. Federal agents. Cameras everywhere. His face was gray. His hands shook. He looked small. The ticker on the bottom of the screen read, Billionaire investor Vincent Hale arrested on multiple fraud charges. Eli watched with Danny on his lap. Is that the bad man? Danny asked. Yeah, buddy. That's him. Is he going to jail? Looks like it. Danny was quiet for a moment. Good. Eli hugged him tighter. His phone buzzed again. This time it was Grayson. Eli almost ignored it. But curiosity won. What do you want? Grayson's voice was broken. My father's in jail. The company's collapsing. Everything's gone. I know. I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. I was terrible to you. Terrible to Danny. I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know. Eli was quiet. Grayson? Yeah. Get help. Real help. Therapy. AA, whatever you need. Because if you ever want to see Danny again, you need to be better than your father. Grayson's voice cracked. Do you think I can be? I don't know. But you could try. Thank you. The line went dead. Aurelia walked in carrying pizza. Celebration dinner. Danny cheered. They ate on the floor of the living room. Laughing. Happy. For the first time in months, Eli felt safe. His phone buzzed one last time. An email from Judge Calloway's office. Subject. Final custody order to open it. Full custody granted to Eli Mercer. Supervised visitation for Grayson Hale pending completion of rehabilitation program. All claims by Vincent Hale dismissed with prejudice. Eli read it 3 times to make sure it was real. It's official, he whispered. Aurelia raised her soda can. To family. To family, Eli echoed. Danny clinked his juice box against their cans. Outside, the black car was gone. The street was empty. But in the shadows across town, in a cell at the Federal Detention Center, Vincent Hale sat alone. His empire was gone. His son hated him. His legacy was ashes. And somewhere in the darkness, he realized something he should have learned years ago. Money can't buy everything. And some people refuse to be broken. Vincent and Grayson are finished. But is this really the end? Comment if you think there's one more twist coming, or if justice has finally been served. 2 weeks later, Eli stood outside Danny's school. Parents stared at him, not with pity anymore. Not with judgment, with respect. A woman approached. Miranda Chun, president of the PDA. She'd always looked through Eli before. Mr. Mercer, I wanted to apologize. Eli blinked. For what? For believing the lies. For not defending you when people talked. For being a coward. She looked ashamed. You fought for your son when the entire world was against you. That takes courage I don't have. Thank you, Eli said quietly. Other parents came over. One by one. Apologizing. Offering support. inviting Danny to playdates. The same people who'd whispered about him now wanted to be his friend. Eli didn't know how to feel about that. Danny ran out of school, backpack bouncing. "Dad." Eli caught him in a hug. "Hey, buddy. Good day." "The best." Mrs. Patterson said my essay was amazing. "That's my boy." They walked home hand in hand at AT the apartment building. Eli's landlord was waiting. "Mark?" Eli tensed. "Is something wrong?" Mark shook his head. "Opposite. The building's sale fell through. You're staying." And he looked embarrassed. "I'm sorry I tried to kick you out. Hale offered me a lot of money. I should have said no. It's okay, it's not. But thank you for saying that." Mark handed him an envelope. "First month's rent is on me. Call it an apology." After Mark left, Eli opened the envelope, got a check. And a handwritten note. "You're a good man. This building is lucky to have you." Eli's eyes burned. Inside the apartment, his phone rang. Unknown number, but he almost didn't answer. But something made him. "Hello." "Mr. Mercer? This is Stephen Park. I'm a reporter with the Times." Eli's stomach dropped. "I'm not doing interviews." "I understand. But I wanted you to know, we're running a story tomorrow. About you. About what you went through. About what Vincent Hale did. I don't want to be famous. I know. But people need to hear this. Not the lies Hale spread. The truth." Stephen paused. "I lost custody of my daughter 5 years ago. Her mother had money and lawyers. I had nothing. I gave up because I thought I couldn't win." His voice cracked. "Your story, it made me realize I gave up too soon. I'm going back to court next month. Fighting again. Because if you could win against a billionaire, maybe I have a chance to." Eli sat down heavily. I don't know what to say." "Say, you'll let me tell your story." "Not for you. For all the other fathers out there who think they can't win. Who need to know it's possible." Eli thought about that. About the dads working 2 jobs. The ones facing lawyers they couldn't afford. The ones told they weren't good enough. "Okay," he said. "Tell the story." The next morning, Eli's phone exploded. Texts. Calls. Messages from people he'd never met. "You inspired me to keep fighting. Thank you for not giving up. You're a hero." Eli wasn't a hero. He was just a father who loved his son. But if his story helped others, maybe that was enough. That afternoon, Eli got a call from the detention center. "You have a visitor request from Grayson Hale. Do you accept?" Eli hesitated. Yes, that he didn't tell Aurelia. She would have talked him out of it. At the detention center, Grayson sat behind glass. He looked terrible, thin, hollow-eyed, broken. He picked up the phone. "Thank you for coming." Eli picked up his phone. "Why did you want to see me?" "To apologize. For real this time. Not because I want something. Just because you deserve to hear it." Grayson's voice was raw. "I was cruel, abusive. I used money and power to hurt you because I could. Because that's what my father taught me. That's all I knew." Tears ran down his face. "I don't expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know none of it was your fault. You were a good husband, a good father. The problem was always me." Eli's throat tightened. "What happens to you now?" "Trial in 3 months. My lawyer says I'll get 5 to 7 years." Grayson laughed bitterly. "My father will get 20. All his appeals were denied yesterday. And after prison? I don't know. Therapy, hopefully. Try to become someone worthy of knowing my son someday." He looked at Eli. Will you tell Danny about me? When he's older. Tell him I was sick, but I'm trying to get better." "If you actually get better, yes, that's fair." Grayson wiped his eyes. "Take care of him." "I will. I know you will. You always did." The visit ended. Eli walked out into the sunshine. His phone buzzed. "Aurelia, dinner tonight?" "My treat. You pick the place." Eli smiled. Typed back, "The diner." Booth 7 that evening, Eli, Aurelia, and Danny sat in their favorite booth. The waitress brought Danny's mac and cheese with extra breadcrumbs. On the house, she said, winking at Eli. For our favorite customer. Danny beamed. Aurelia raised her coffee cup. To new beginnings. To family. Eli said. To pizza. Danny added. They laughed. For the first time in years, Eli felt complete. Not because he'd won. Not because the villains were defeated. But because he had his son. His sister. His life back. That was enough. Outside, the evening news played on the diner TV. Vincent Hale's empire continues to crumble as more victims come forward. Grayson Hale enters plea deal, agrees to testify against father. Eli Mercer's story inspires custody reform legislation. People watched, nodded, talked about justice finally being served. But Eli wasn't watching the TV. He was watching Danny laugh at one of Aurelia's jokes. That was his victory. That was everything. His phone buzzed one last time, got a text from an unknown number. Your story gave me hope. Thank you. A dad in Ohio. Eli smiled, put his phone away, and finished his coffee. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. Life wasn't a fairy tale. But tonight was perfect. Eli won his son, his dignity, and inspired thousands. But there's one final chapter left. Comment what you think happens next, because the ending will leave you speechless. 5 years later, Eli stood in front of a modest house with a red door and a small yard. His house, an old landlord. No eviction threats. Just his Danny, now 12, ran past him carrying a soccer ball. Dad, I'm going to be late for practice. Go. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Danny sprinted down the street, backpack bouncing. Eli watched him go. Still couldn't believe this was real. His phone rang. Aurelia, how's the new house? Perfect. Eli smiled. How's Geneva? Boring. I'm taking a case in New York next month. Dinner when I'm in town. Always. Good. Oh, and Eli? Check your email. I sent you something. She hung up. Eli opened his email. Subject. Thought you'd want to know. An article. Vincent Hale dies in prison at 67. That Eli read it slowly. Heart attack. Alone in his cell. No visitors in 3 years. His fortune seized by the government. His name erased from buildings and charities. That he died the way he lived. Alone, Eli felt nothing. Not satisfaction. Not sadness. Just emptiness where hatred used to be. That he closed the email. Another one caught his eye. From Grayson. Subject. An update. Eli, I'm getting released next month. Early parole for good behavior. I've been in therapy for 4 years. I'm sober. I'm different. I'm not asking to see Danny yet. I know I need to earn that. But I wanted you to know, I'm trying. Thank you for not giving up on me completely. Eli stared at the email. Part of him wanted to delete it. Forget Grayson existed. But another part remembered the broken man behind the glass. The one who'd apologized. Who'd changed. He typed back. Keep trying. When you're ready, we'll talk. That he hit send. That evening, Eli sat in the bleachers at Danny's soccer game. Other parents sat around him. Friends now. Real ones. Danny scored a goal. The crowd cheered. Eli jumped up, screaming louder than anyone. Danny looked over, grinning. That smile. That's what it was all about. After the game, Danny ran over, sweaty and happy. Did you see that goal? See it? I recorded it. Eli showed him the video. They watched it together, laughing. A woman approached. Professional clothes. Kind eyes. Mr. Mercer? Eli looked up. Yes. I'm Sarah Chun. I work for the National Fathers Rights Foundation. We're opening a legal aid clinic for dads fighting custody battles. We'd like you to speak at our launch event. Eli blinked. Me? Why? Because you won. Against impossible odds. Against a billionaire. You proved it's possible. She handed him a card. Think about it. Your story could help thousands of fathers who feel hopeless. She left. Danny tugged Eli's sleeve. Are you famous, Dad? No, buddy. I'm just a dad who loves his kid. That's pretty cool. Yeah. It is. That night, Eli tucked Danny into bed. Dad. Danny's voice was sleepy. Do you think Mom would be proud of us? Eli's throat tightened. Danny's mother had died when he was 2. Before Grayson. Before everything. I think she'd be so proud of you she'd burst. Danny smiled. Closed his eyes. Eli watched him sleep for a moment. Then went downstairs. He sat on his couch. In his house. That he owned. His phone buzzed at a text from Stephen Park, the reporter who'd written his story 5 years ago. Custody reform bill passed today. The Mercer Law requires judges to prioritize children's actual well-being over parents' wealth. You did this, Eli. You changed the system. Eli read it 3 times. He just wanted his son back, that he never meant to change anything else. But somehow he had another text. From a number he didn't recognize. I won custody today. First time in 3 years I've seen my daughter. Your story kept me fighting. Thank you. Marcus, Seattle. Tears ran down Eli's face, not sad tears. Grateful ones that he thought about the courtroom 5 years ago. About sitting alone with his cheap folder. About Grayson laughing at him. About Vincent's threats that he thought about how close he'd come to giving up, but he hadn't. And now Danny was upstairs, safe and loved. And fathers across the country had new hope, and the system that protected the rich and crushed the poor had changed. Just a little. But enough. Eli opened his laptop, typed an email to Sarah Chun. I'll speak at your event. For every father who thinks he can't win. Eli, he hit send. Leaned back, closed his eyes. 5 years ago, a billionaire mocked him for showing up without a lawyer. Today, that billionaire was dead. His son was in prison, and Eli? Eli was free. The universe doesn't care about money. That IT cares about love, about persistence, about fathers who refuse to quit. Eli smiled. Tomorrow he'd wake up in his house, make Danny breakfast, drive him to school, go to work, come home, help with homework, tuck him in, repeat. Not glamorous. Not exciting. Just life. The life he'd fought for, the life he'd won. And somewhere in a boardroom in Geneva, Aurelia closed another case file. Another billionaire humbled. Another underdog victory. She pulled out her phone. Texted Eli. Proud of you, little brother. He texted back. Couldn't have done it without you. She smiled, closed her laptop, and somewhere in America, a single father read Eli's story, wiped his tears, and decided to fight. The man they mocked became the man who changed everything. Arrogance lost. Love won. And Eli Mercer proved that the most powerful weapon isn't money. It's a father who refuses to give up. That if this story moved you, like this video, subscribe to Pop Stories for more incredible true tales, and comment below. What would you have done in Eli's position? Drop your country and your answer below. Share this with every parent who needs to hear that they're stronger than they think. Because sometimes the greatest victories come from the quietest heroes. Thank you for watching. Until next time, keep fighting for what matters.